What is going on, guys, and welcome to today's video. My name is Pepe and this channel is all about movement education, helping you to improve the way you move by sharing good knowledge and giving you the tools you need to make your training bang on. In today's video, we're going to have a look at how to stretch your hamstrings the proper way. If you are one of those people who during a hamstring stretch you feel it everywhere but in your hamstrings, you feel it in your calf, you feel it at the back of the knee, you feel it in your lower back, but it's never really in the specific hamstring part you want to stretch, then this video is for you. If you have never been able to touch your toes, be ready, because today you are going to be able to do just that. Let's not waste any more time and get into part one of the video. Now, one of the first things you need to understand in order to properly stretch your hamstrings is your pelvis positioning. You can either have an anterior pelvic tilt or a posterior pelvic tilt. You can also place your pelvis in a neutral alignment, but for the purpose of these videos, we're just gonna focus on anterior and posterior pelvic tilt. If you imagine your hips area being a glass of wine, or actually, because we are in Ireland, we're going to imagine it to be a pint of Guinness, if you were to pour the liquid forward, you will have an anterior pelvic tilt. If you were to pour the liquid backward, you would have a posterior pelvic tilt. So when you arch your lower back and you stick your bum out, this is called anterior pelvic tilt. When you flatten the lower back area and you pour the liquid backwards, this is called posterior pelvic tilt. Now, you can play around with anterior and posterior pelvic tilt in many different positions. You can be in a standing position. You can be in a seated position. You can be in a supine position, in a prone position. You can be on all fours. But the point is, once you master this movement and you know how to fix your pelvis in any of these positions, you can make your hamstring stretch much more effective. The first stretch we're going to do is called single leg chair hamstring stretch. The standing leg is facing forward. It tends to turn out, so make sure it's pointing forward. The leg that you want to stretch goes on top of the chair, and you want to make sure that the knee remains bent. If you straighten the knee, you're going to stretch your sciatic nerve, and in this particular stretch, this is not what we want to do. So you keep the knee bent and we make sure that the stretch is on the belly of your hamstrings. You're going to actively dorsiflex your ankle and think about belly button to the toes, but also think about actively squeezing your front of the shin and pull the toes towards your chest. You're going to start with an anterior pelvic tilt. You hinge forward, keeping the knee bent, keeping the ankle dorsiflexed, and you want to stop when you feel that your pelvic tilt is starting to get lost. So I could go here all the way, grabbing the chair, but you can see how my back is rounding, and this is moving the stretch from my hamstrings into my lumbar spine, and that's not a wise idea. So you keep your back straight, you bend the knee, you hinge forward, and you stop. You want to maintain it there, hold on your thigh, start with a stretch of 60 seconds, progress it to a 90-second stretch, and eventually build up to a total of 2 minutes in this position. Really breathing through it and trying to really arch And the more you arch and you send the belly button forward, the more the hamstrings are gonna be pulled the proper way. If the previous position feels really intense and you cannot hold it for a minute, what you can do is grab your chair and place it against a wall. Once you have placed the chair against the wall, you're gonna do the same. Standing leg is straight. The leg that you want to stretch goes on top of the chair. Bend the knee, flex the foot, anterior tilt, start hinging until you can touch the wall with the fingertips, and you just hold it right here. Once you get better, while keeping your pelvic tilt, you can progress by going with your full flat palm on the wall. And this is already a great demonstration of hamstrings flexibility. If you're not even able to reach for the wall while keeping the anterior tilt, what you can do is use some books, some glasses, some water bottles to bring the wall a little bit closer to yourself. So you can start in this shape right here, really trying to arch more and lengthen the hamstrings. And then from here, once you get better, you use a shorter support, and then eventually you want to go fully flat, and then you get rid of your water bottle or glasses or whatever you're using, and you can start progressing it by touching the wall with your fingertips. Once you get better at your chair stretches, you can progress it by going down to the floor. All you need for this one is a pillow and 2 glasses. You can use water bottles or yoga bricks, will be the same. Now, you want to start in a lunge position, just like that, and you want to place the pillow under the back knee. So make sure the back knee is supported. And from here, what you need to make sure is that the hips remain on top, stacked on top of the back knee. You place the foot in between the 2 glasses and you straighten the leg, finding the balance. Now start by bending the knee, flexing the foot, anteriorly tilting your pelvis. You're gonna hinge forward until you can grab a hold of those glasses. Keep that tilt. Again, you start on your fingertips, keeping the chest tall. You can lower it to your full flat palms. You can change the glasses position, so bringing yourself a little bit lower to the floor. Once you get to this stage, try to play with straight knee, bent knee, straight knee, bent knee. And this is going to really stretch out those hamstrings. If you straighten the knee and the stretch is still, you still feel it in your hamstrings, that's good news, because you can start to get rid of your glasses and you place your fingertips on the ground. And this is already a really intense stretch. And then the final level for this position is to eventually start going flat palms. You can see my back starts rounding here, and that's not what we want. But even if my upper back is rounding, I'm really trying with my lower back to really arch and keep that anterior pelvic tilt. We have only used passive stretching techniques in order to lengthen your hamstrings. And the reason is because it's safe and easy to learn. You can really make sure your pelvis is aligned in a proper position. You can bend the knee, flex the foot, and make sure that the stretch is really only on the hamstrings. But as soon as you get better at these static stretches, you want to make sure you introduce in your training loaded stretching. This will bring variety into your training and will make you progress much quicker. One of the best exercises I always use with my clients is the split stance single leg good morning. You want to set up with the leg that you want to stretch in front, and the back leg is just to keep the balance. So you're going to place it on your toes here, but it's very light. There isn't much weight on that back leg. Most of the weight is on the leg that is stretching. The chest is tall, the knee is fully locked out. If you have pain at the back of the knee, you can micro bend the knee a little bit, but try to keep it locked out as you get better. Start by anterior tilting your pelvis, hinge at the hips, keep very little weight on the back leg, get in your stretch, and you want to stop when you feel that your pelvic tilt is starting to get lost. So if I go any lower than that, my pelvis starts to round. We don't want to get here. So stop where you really can maintain your anterior tilt, squeeze your glutes and your hamstrings, and by thrusting your hips forward, you come out of the position. And you want to do this dynamically. So you go down on the stretch and you go all the way up, feeling the contraction in the muscles that you're stretching. Hinge, stretch it out, and all the way up. You can make this harder by leaning back as you descend in the stretch. So as you go down in your stretch, send your bum backwards, and this is really going to lengthen all the posterior line of your leg, and then you squeeze your glutes, you bring yourself up, and you repeat 5, 6, up to 10 times. Another way of making this a little bit harder is by bringing the arms overhead. So by just bringing the hands behind your head, you're gonna hinge. There is more load being placed on that stretched leg, and this is gonna make the exercise harder. Now let's say you do 10 reps of this. On the last one, you want to hold the stretch for 10 seconds. So you're gonna hinge the hips, get as low as you can, and hold for 10. Keep the tilt. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, engaging in the hamstrings and glute, and out of the stretch. I know that loaded stretching is much harder than passive stretching, but if you do this consistently, you will teach your nervous system that it's safe to get into those ranges. You won't need to warm up or to prepare for half an hour before your workouts or your activities, because your body knows that that range is safe. You can access that range anytime you want, but you only get that benefit through loaded stretching. I recommend starting your hamstring stretching routine with 5 minutes of warm-up. You can go for a quick run, you can jump on the spot. I really love jump rope, so you can jump rope for 3 to 5 minutes, get the blood pumping, get the body warm, and then pick every exercise we cover today and just hold the static stretch for 90 seconds per leg. Once you've finished with the static stretch, move on and do 2 sets of 8 repetitions per leg of split stance good morning. And on the last repetition, you want to hold your 10 seconds. This will definitely help you with your hamstrings flexibility. You are on your way to a better touching your toes pattern. Every movement that requires a minimum of hamstrings flexibility will feel better, and you are on your way to a more efficient movement and better hamstring length. It goes without saying that if you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and help me spread the word about good quality movement in an industry where misinformation is too much, and with your help I shall make it better. I will put your hamstring stretching routine in the description down below. If you have any questions, don't be afraid. Make sure you comment or just send me an email or contact me, and I will be happy to help you on your journey to more hamstring length. That's all I have for you today, guys. Thank you for watching the video, and I will see you in the next episode.